Hi there, it's Philip Harrison here from Fifth Line, and I'm with Jane Thomason at Fintech Week. Jane, welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you. It's great to be here at Fintech Week.
So Jane's the compère of Fintech Week and also a thought leader and champion for blockchain and social impact. So let's start with Fintech Week. What drove you to want to compare this? It's a big ask.
Well, I've been to Blockchain Week and Fintech Week for the last couple of years, and I just feel that a really great compère can make a conference or can kill a conference. So I said to Luis and Nicola, I think Fintech Week can be a great event. Let me come and compare it, because then you can connect the panels, you can connect the ideas, and people go away with something more.
Yeah, and how do you find the balance between getting the startups as well as the big corporates? Because everyone's here for a slightly different angle. How do you find the right balance? Is it a tough one?
Look, I think it's pretty tough, and that was an issue that came up in the very first session. There's not very many startups here, and I think the price is a barrier to startups. So what I'd love to see is some sort of really big discount for startups. We actually invited the top 5 startups from the hackathon over the weekend and gave them free passes to come, so the numbers have gone up. But I think we need to find a way not to create barriers for startups to come to conferences like this, so that dialogue can take place between the big corporates and the institutions and the startups.
Yeah, and on the topic of financial institutions, I mean, obviously people have a bit of a negative thought sometimes around the big banks and the rest of it. And with the social inclusion, how do you find that balance? It's a hard one, making sure that the big corporates do think about technology with the social impact.
So it's interesting that you ask me that. For the last 2 weeks I've been with regulators in OECD in Paris and in Tokyo with the APEC regulators, and there's a lot of discussion and thinking about financial inclusion and how they can use technologies like blockchain. I think one of the big challenges is that the regulators are not necessarily well educated and informed, and there's often a challenging discussion with particularly some of the more libertarian blockchain community, because they've come in on a platform of we're going to do away with government and we're going to do away with banks. Yeah. But I think that's where people like I and others can try and make a bridge between the startups and the regulators and the big institutions to allow a constructive conversation to take place, because in fact they both need each other.
And for the social inclusion, do you see it most happening in the Western world? Do you see it all more in the Eastern Africa? Where do you see the main drive for social inclusion happening?
It's not going to be in the West. That's why I said this morning, London's competitors for the leaders in fintech are not going to be other developed country institutions. The first country to pass comprehensive cryptocurrency regulations was Bermuda. It's going to be the small states and the emerging economies that will be more agile. They don't have the legacy systems and their needs are greater. They will be first.
Yeah, I think that's the key. The needs are greater, which is kind of good that it's happening in those countries first. Because they need. So what should organisations in the UK, like here, obviously London Fintech Week, do to help those countries, rather than being London-centric? How should we get out there and help those countries which need the social mobility?
Well, we launched a global hackathon series with Fintech Week and the Decade of Women about 6 weeks ago in Nigeria. So I think the answer is you go to these countries, you engage with the tech communities and the people who've got the problems, and we brought some developers and other people so we could add some value to it. There was a hackathon and a blockchain conference, and it was frankly an amazing experience, and I think it was really appreciated by the Nigerian tech community, and they felt that they were connected and people from the West cared, and I think the team that we brought just got an enormous amount out of it, just understanding the depth of their issues, but their willingness and their ambition to do something about it.
Yeah, it's a classic. If you stay here, you get slightly ignorant. You have to go to those countries to learn and be part of it.
Yeah, totally.
Super. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.